Trying to get Pete's attention. You see Pete. Right. Pete. This young lady trying to get your attention.
Good evening. Today is Monday, February 10th, and this 2021. And today is a work session of the school board of the school trustees of the school city of East Chicago. The time is now 6:09 p.m. The place is School City of East Chicago Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street in East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. This is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. I would first like to have roll call. Ms. Cass is not here, so Trustee Williams.
Trustee Rodriguez. Present. Trustee Gomez. Present. Trustee Smith.
Present.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Present. Next, can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll move to the work session portion of the meeting with having Superintendent Wright start to speak. I do ask that the audience please keep comments a minimum to be respectful of the people that are speaking. You will have time where you're able to ask questions and or if you have concerns, you can express it then. Superintendent.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out on this snowy day. Thank you for all the participants who are watching live. The purpose of this work session is to discuss our Return to Learn program. At the end of the program, I'm going to ask that you either submit your questions to Helen Steinbach if you're a teacher, and if you are a parent, you can email Sylvia Alvarez. This is work in progress. I think we have a pretty firm plan, but as you all know, anytime you plan, other people may see things that we cannot see. So I'm asking for positive feedback. Our goal is our kids. That's the main goal, is our kids. And of course, we want to make sure that the staff is safe as well. So the purpose of this plan is just to work together to make sure that we're all on the same page and that possibly we can return our kids back into the buildings soon in a safe manner. Okay, so as I've stated several times before, every 2 or 3 days, the Indiana State Health Department sends me an email with all the COVID information. As of Monday, our positivity rate is 1.5. When we first started looking at the data, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, we were at 14–15% positivity rate. So right now, as of 2 days ago, we have a positivity rate of 1.5. And as you can see, the whole entire state positivity rate has dropped because maybe a month ago, this whole map was pretty much red. So 1.5. So we're making some strides, the state, in reducing that positivity rate. So tonight, what you're going to see is you're going to see 3 options that have been well thought out. These options have been worked on with my team. So we're going to look at 3 options. Okay, option A, in person. So as you all know, about 2 weeks ago, we surveyed the parents. The parents stated that 48% of the parents wanted their kids to return to school. 52% want their kids to remain virtual. Those 52% of the parents that want their kids to remain virtual we will allow those parents to remain virtual as long as the state allows that to happen. If the state just happens to say that all kids have to return to school by a certain day, if they mandate that, then that's what the state mandates. But right now, they're still giving us the option that we can have students in person and students virtually. So, option A, in person. Elementary and middle school, I'm in option A. Elementary and middle school will have a Team A, Team B schedule. So Team A will come to school Monday and Tuesday. Team B will come to school Thursday and Friday. Wednesdays, until further notice, will always be virtual live person instruction. That means that no kids will come into the building. All the virtual instruction will be live. Now, there's some benefits to option A. First, with this option here, we'll have smaller groups. So 48%, let's say, for instance, if we have 100 students, 48% of those 100 students will be 48 students. With this plan right here, that means that only 24 students will be in a building at one time. 24 students will be in the building Monday and Tuesday. The other 24 will be in the buildings on Thursday and Friday. That's what this plan says. So, what are the benefits? We have smaller groups. Also, this plan will give us a phased-in approach. As opposed to putting all 48 students in the building at one time for 4 days, this plan will give us that phased-in approach. In the event that we have to contact trace, it will be easier to contact trace our students, and this plan also gives us the time to test the system. Disadvantages: kids are only in the buildings 2 days a week. Another disadvantage: this may become a parent inconvenience. Some parents may want their kids in school 4 days a week. We understand that. Also with option A, the high school kids will remain virtual. So K through 8 will go back to school in Team A, Team B, and the high school kids will remain virtual. So Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday, start date, March 8th until March 26th. March 26th is the last, March 26th starts our spring break. 3 weeks. So with option A, we will implement this option for 3 weeks. So I was just talking to Ms. Steinbeck in my office about which grouping option will work. So what we're going to do is we're going to poll the teachers. We're going to poll the teachers and ask the teachers which option would work best for you if we were to choose option A. So here's the 2 options. Team A will be K2, 4, and 6 on Mondays and Tuesdays. And Tuesday and Thursday will be Team B, 1, 3, and 5. Middle school, option A, Team 71 and Team 81. So those of you who don't know about the middle school, and Trustee Williams knows about the middle school, Team 81 is on one side, and Team 71 is on one side. And Team 72 is on one side, and Team 82 is on another side. Or we can group the kids by last names. Team A can be students A through M. Team B can be students N through Z. So we're going to poll the teachers to determine which grouping they prefer. Okay? Once again, this is for 3 weeks.
That's right. Did you want a question?
At the end, please.
Okay.
So I have a piece of paper here, and it has questions on it. It has a space for questions. So, so if you want to ask a question and you just want to write down the question and ask when I finish, then I appreciate that because it would throw me off the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, next slide, Jeremy. So high school students, even with option A, the CTE students will return to school March 8th through March 26th. They will also return to school Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and all the other high school students will return on April 5th. As you know, our CTE students are required to have so many in-person hours in order for us to receive that CTE funding. So that's why we want our CTE students back into the buildings. Option B. Once again, elementary and middle school will start March 8th. High school, all except CTE, will remain virtual until April 5th. Now, in option B, all students, the 48%, all of the 48% of the students will return into the buildings Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday, again, will be live virtual instruction for the entire district. What are the benefits? More in-person instruction. So with option B, our kids will get 4 days of in-person instruction as opposed to 2. And the disadvantages is that we'll have larger groups in the building and more contact tracing or possible exposure. Option C, all students remain virtual until April 5th. April 5th, all person instruction return to the building Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and Wednesdays will remain live virtual learning. Here's the thing about option C. Our students must begin taking the iLearn, the state mandated test, April 19th. That's 2 weeks. If we were to remain virtual, that will be 2 weeks after the kids get into the buildings, our kids will be required to take the iLearn test. And so let me tell you about the iLearn test. Every kid who takes the iLearn test must come into the building. We cannot administer that iLearn test virtually. Those kids must. That's the state law, not East Chicago's law or Ms. Wright's law. That's the state law. Every kid that takes that test must come into the building. Special ed, at Ms. Paul's request, regardless of whatever option we choose, she wants the moderate special ed classes to return March 8th for 4 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay? Class coverage, which has been, when we tried this in October, that was one of our hiccups. But what I would say to that is, at some point, our kids have to come back to school. So I do not want us to use class coverage as our crutch to not bring kids back into school. So we have a plan. What's the plan? All staff, certified and non-certified in the buildings, must be prepared to cover classes. So we now have a list of every person in each building who is not assigned to teachers. Certified and non-certified. In the event that we have one building where we have large absences, a lot of teachers are absent, well then we have a hands-on-deck approach. Everybody's going to have to pitch in and go cover classes. Every building administrator is a certified teacher, because you have to be a teacher before you became an administrator. We have social workers who have teacher's licenses. They're certified by the state of Indiana. District administrators, we have agreed that we will cover classes if need be. In actuality, I look forward to it. I miss kids. So each building has identified available staff to cover classes. And we're committed to making sure that we go cover those classes and teach, not just be a babysitter. We are certified teachers. Okay? Safety protocols. So let's talk about safety protocols. Buses, I've been working with Mr. Garcia for the last year on buses. He has done a great job with the buses. He understands how these buses run. He is really good at his job. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Okay, so buses, Kids stand on the bus line, they must have on a mask. When they get on the bus, they have a mask. If they don't have a mask, we have 5 million masks. We will give kids a mask. A mask is our least of problems. We will give kids a mask. All kids are required to wear their mask on the buses. They must have on their masks sitting on the buses. Okay? Building entry. So when we open schools for 2 weeks in October, all the building principals had a procedure in which the kids did not congregate outside. They were allowed to come into the buildings, go into the classes. We had sanitizer pumps as they came into the buildings. They used sanitizers and they went into their classrooms, and we did not allow any book bags. That same procedure will take place. We have sanitizer stations all throughout the buildings. Kids walk through the hallways, they can use sanitizer. We also developed cleaning logs. Even in this building, we have cleaning logs. So if you go to any bathroom in this building, you'll see a cleaning log. Look at it, because every time a maintenance person goes into that bathroom and cleans, they log that. They log that, oh, I cleaned this bathroom at 10:49. So we'll make sure that we continue with the cleaning logs. Also, in addition, I can say that Mr. Francis, our maintenance director, Mr. Franciski, has met with all the building principals except one. He has walked throughout the buildings to make sure that everything is up to par and taken care of. How I know that? Because I was included in on the emails. And he talks to me regularly. Because if he doesn't, I call him regularly. Bathroom breaks again will be assigned, and after students use the bathroom on their assigned break, maintenance will go in and clean again. Students will eat breakfast and lunch in the classrooms until further notice. We're doing it that way to make sure that our kids don't all congregate in the same location, and in the event that we have to contact trace, we don't have to shut down the entire school. Mask breaks per guidance. Once again, I've been talking to Nurse Bobo and Ms. Diana Burns, the East Chicago Health Director, and we're always in conversation about the health and safety as it relates to COVID. And of course, we're going to have staggered dismissal times. We will not allow all the kids to just run out the door at the same times. We will have doors for kids who are bus drivers. We will have doors for kids who are walkers, and we'll have doors for the third one I missed: bus drivers, bus riders, drivers, and walkers. So those kids all come through different doors, entry and dismissal doors, to avoid congregation. In addition, this shield right here, or desk shield, we have 2,000 of these stored over in the cafeteria. I've seen some that were really creative. The kids have decorated their shields to fit their own personalities, but we have 2,000 of these in the cafeteria for our students that can be given to the building principals at any time. We also have face shields. Every teacher in the district has received sanitizer wipes, such as this, can of Lysol, and gloves. Thank you. So once again, we have more than enough PPE. As you all saw in the survey, PPE was not an issue. Okay. Technology. So I have been in conversation with George, as usual, always. So for those 48% of the kids, what happens with that technology? What would happen? Because right now we've given away, every kid in the district has technology, either their own or the technology that we have given them. So thank you to George. Technology is not an issue for our kids now, nor are hotspots, nor is internet. So what would happen to those 48% of the kids if they were to come into the building? So for K2 For pre-K through 2, they use iPads. They must bring their equipment daily depending on their schedule. We do not have enough iPads for the kids right now. So they will have to just bring their iPads in every day. But we do have a few spares. So if the kid leaves his iPad at home and he needs his iPad, we can loan him one for the day. Grades 3 through 6, they can keep their devices at home. We have enough in carts. And then 7 through 12, they must bring their equipment into the buildings daily. We also have some carts in the main office in the secondary schools for students who forget, damage, or whatever else happens with that equipment. So, CD and Indiana State Health and Guidelines, quarantine guidance. As you all know, or maybe you don't know, but CDC has placed new guidance out. And they said that schools are no longer required to quarantine or contact trace if the teachers and students remain at least 6 feet apart, forward facing and wearing a mask at all times. I talked to Ms. Bobo today. We're going to maintain our 6 feet distance. We're not going to lessen our social distancing per CDC. The changes in definition only apply for school day, while in the classroom, it applies to grades K through 12. So that's what CDC says. Right now, with the 48%, we still can maintain the 6 feet social distancing, and we plan on doing that. So the state has also agreed to give us some rapid tests called BINEX. Avid BINEX Now. It's a rapid test, and it can give your results within 15 minutes. I've had a couple of those, by the way. BINEX Now cards can be used in school. So if a kid shows up for school and he has symptoms of COVID, we can give him a test right then and there. And in 15 minutes, we will know if this kid just has a cold or if this kid is tested positive for COVID. We will know, because that was one of the issues that many schools had in the fall, whereas kids show up and they had a cold, they had a sore throat, they had a headache, which are all symptoms of a regular cold, and the building was just in disarray. Right now, they're going to give us the BINEX Now rapid test, which will give us the results in 15 minutes. And Ms. Bobo has been trained on the guidelines and how to administer the BINEX Now rapid test. Okay. Also, in fact, Ms. Bobo will be, she's going to meet with the Lake County Health Department Friday with all the other area superintendents Friday morning at 10:30. Okay. Moving forward, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. I get it. I know that. I expect that. But we just want to make sure that we're doing this in a very formal, systematic manner. So teachers, I'm sure you're going to have questions, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that I answer each and every question possible. So if you have a question, I'm asking that you submit all your questions to Helen Steinbeck, your union president. And she and I and my team, we're going to sit and discuss all her concerns and answers on Thursday, February the 18th at 3:30. I'm sure parents are going to have questions. I'm asking that all parents forward their questions to Sylvia Alvarez, our district parent liaison, by Wednesday, February 17th, and her address is salvarez@ecps.org. Once we get all those questions, we're then going to make a poster of Q&A, questions and answers, and we're going to post it in both Spanish and English on the school website. We're going to deliver hard copies out to the buildings, and the buildings are also going to post on their school, on their website. After I meet with all the key stakeholders and I get the parents' input and their questions, and after I talk to the union, I'll be making a recommendation to the board in a special session on February 25th, 2021. My goal is to make an informed decision in which we all can agree on, and we all understand the terms of this is how we want to move forward. There's no I in team. So I want to make sure that the board is fully informed on all the questions and the answers. We'll have input from the teachers, the parents, and we'll move forward. That being said, I'll entertain questions, but once again, what I'll say to you guys is many of the answers I will know, some I won't. I have to go back and think about them. The ones that I don't know, I will get you an answer. Please be patient, because once again, you may have questions that I haven't even thought of, but I'll make sure that I get those answers to you guys as soon as possible.
Trustees, any trustees have questions?
S. Alvarez, I noticed there's a dot, then at ECPS, so
Yeah.
that dot.
No, that's a typo, sorry.
Okay, so it's S. Alvarez at
Yes,
ECPS.
I just saw that when I was looking at it. That's a typo, yes.
Any other trustee questions? Okay, I have a couple. I know we discussed previously, my biggest concern was teachers. If there's a teacher call off, I know there were some teachers that we haven't filled positions in yet. Huge concern that we had, I like how you addressed it, and I actually really like this presentation a whole lot more than what we have. I feel like I'm a little bit informed. But I do have my same concern with the teachers. If they call off, if we have people missing in the building, that is still, to me, I'm not satisfied with that answer, because I'm concerned with the legality of putting people into those classrooms and they cannot sit as, they cannot teach. When you say non-certified, what does that mean? Who will be deans? That would be, I know at one point I heard there was security guards. I heard at one point that there was paraprofessionals. I heard at one point, I mean, I know we were grabbing people to be in the classroom, but that the legality aspect of it is what really concerns me. And even our deans can't be there if they don't have any certifications. So what are we gonna do? Because I know we have the list, but in one school alone, there was the highest, 28 teachers that didn't come in one day, Helen? So how can we pool? Where do we pool if we don't have enough people who are certified to be in those classrooms? And I know we don't have no subs. Nobody has subs.
Well, the best answer I can give to you, Vanessa, is that I think that may have happened one time. Most buildings don't have 28 teachers, or maybe 2 or 3 more. I think that's an issue that most districts are facing. In fact, I was on a Zoom conference with a principal from Indianapolis, and she started the Zoom conference late. And she says, well, I'm sorry. And so I see kids in the office. And she says, well, I have 7 people out, but we have to do what we have to do. And she had the kids sitting there, and she would stop and redirect them. And I was just so impressed with that, because as opposed to saying, we're just not gonna have school, it was something was better than nothing. So I understand your concern, but I think I'm almost positive we can work it. We have 15 building administrators. We have 5, 6 district administrators who are former teachers. No, we have about 7 or 8 who are former teachers. So I'm confident that we can we can adjust that.
And with that being said, I want people to understand, I want students, not kids, students in the building, because at this point, I understand the social emotional aspect and the educational aspect. But I also want everyone to be safe. So that's why I bring it up. Can you briefly explain to me who can be teaching in a classroom setting? Who is able to do that?
Who is able
To sit in?
to sit in?
Or Mr. Doctor, maybe?
Well, let me say this to you. The state had said that parents at one point could not administer a standardized test. They're changing it this year. So now all parents have to do is take a course, and they can now administer the I-STEP tests, the I-Learn test this school year. So by them stating that, I don't foresee it being a problem with parents supervising the classroom.
If you can we have some something from the state or somewhere we could pull it from to say that it's okay for paraprofessionals to be inside the classroom and giving instruction? Mr. Doctor, if you could work with our attorney to make sure that that's legal.
So if I could jump in, Vanessa, I understand your question, and I think probably that question should be a little bit broader, like your original question of running through a few scenarios. Obviously, the superintendent's plan, in the event we need coverage, obviously you want to make sure that the students are properly supervised. But I think the question probably would be too, if it's for an extended period of time, how long is too long to just supervise and without having someone that's certified to provide actual instruction. And if there's something in between, a teacher who can provide your normal instruction and someone who's just supervising to make sure that they're safe, who would that be? So could a paraprofessional do something slightly more than just a security guard that's sitting in the room? I think we need to run through all those scenarios so that we have some indication from the state, because this is a unique situation. None of us really know what we can or can't do under the circumstances. So since we're finally getting back to the point of going back in the classroom, I think we should specifically ask the state that question and ask for their feedback in writing. And I'll work with the superintendent and Mr. Doctor on drafting something to the state so we can get some feedback from them.
So technically, pairs are usually more qualified to supervise or instruct the class than subs do, because they aren't in the classrooms with the teachers all the time anyway. So they know the material. So, but yes, we will. Yes.
My next thing to you, first off, I love that you have different plans. This is different. There's a tier to come in. I think you'll learn more from that because we learned it from the first time. I think that that's how it's going to be very helpful. I think I also discussed when the first day of reentry, and more students came than we expected. And we kind of pushed them to, either a common room, common area. How will we combat that? Because we know they're gonna come, they might come by bus, they might come by, the parent might drop them off, and we don't know. So how will we combat that, those first days of school, of making sure that, because who knows, we might not have enough space if those kids, children come in. Any thoughts?
No, but can I have a plan for you? Yeah, I get a plan for you to address that. Yes.
My next thing with the buses. So I know one of the concerns were either the aide and whoever the driver, one of them would check the time. If someone had a fever, what happens to that student?
Did we have a few cases like that?
No, not yet, but mine is, we have two buses, one in the harbor, one in Chicago. So if a bus driver calls in and say, I got a student A has a fever, that bus will go pick up that student, we'll call school up, make sure they get a hold of that parent. If we don't want to take them home or tell them to go home if the parent's not home. So we're trying to make the school, we're trying to make parent contact and then go from there.
I do ask that because that will be delayed, that we need to make sure all those people in the buses, we tell the teachers that they're gonna be late, and we tell the parents, a robocall to parents, letting them know that they're gonna be late, because we have to let that there is instructional time possibly lost if we have a situation like that.
Well, it'd be another bus picking them up.
No, I know, but they'll have to wait until we're not gonna leave the child.
No.
Right, so that's why it'll probably be some delay. I know at one point in the return to learn plan, we said we were putting, shields on that, for the drivers. It was a discussion, I don't know if it's a return to learn, but there was a
Right
discussion.
now, we can't put that on the bus.
Just talk about it originally, but then they found out.
Okay. Also, so what are we doing with the food? So if we have those who are hybrid, right? So, are we still gonna have the buses with the hotspots and the food? Is that possible? Do we have enough people to do bus routes and food and hotspots? And then have the two buses that are,
Yeah, we got enough bus drivers to do it, but the thing is that the amount of hours you're gonna give them, so that's gonna amount to a lot more hours getting this to them. With the hotspots, we've been experienced nobody going to the buses, using the hotspots. So we have, a lot of lunches been given out, so there's a big turnout for lunches. There's a lot of big turnout at the schools for lunches, I know that, but hotspots are nobody.
okay, that's good to know. We probably have to just let them know ahead of time that we will get rid of them. Is that maybe the plan? To help with the transportation?
Absolutely.
Just, I think we have a hotspot at the schools, the hotspots at the schools, correct?
Yes, there's a hotspot at every location, so they in front of the parking lot, or there's hotspots there. There's Wi-Fi at every school.
And then technically, you might want to announce that there's Wi-Fi at the parks. All the parks and centers are able, well, if you're at our center, or some of our centers, you're able to receive some of that Wi-Fi
So I
capability.
figure you're gonna need the Wi-Fi buses.
Yeah.
And we could just instruct them, anybody needs any Wi-Fi, just go to your local school.
Okay. You stated that, children who are from 7th to 12th grade will now need to bring in their equipment. I know George is probably like cringing over there because we're gonna have computers without any type of, carrying case or anything like that. And Ray can't have a book bag.
Well, it's a great possibility that we will not assign homework to those kids after school, in which they would have to use a Chromebook or iPad, and they could just be paper pencil.
No, I'm saying, but we have, you say that we're gonna bring, that all the children have to bring their stuff into the school building. Oh, you're saying they're leaving it there?
Yes, they could, yes, that's the plan, yes, they could.
So they're not gonna use iPads or anything at home?
Right. If it becomes an issue for them to transport it back and forth, then they can just leave it in school and they can work on their paper pencil assignments outside of the building.
So with that, and maybe we should probably need to just rethink that issue, because we're gonna have all of this stuff from home taken to the school. Everyone will have to go get their iPad, and where are you gonna store it? And, I think at one point there wasn't supposed to be backpacks at the school, and we allowed backpacks, but they couldn't put them in the lockers. It's probably safer for your technology, it may be, because students are now used to having some type of technology, and then we're gonna kind of take it away from them. Just a thought.
Yeah, I think that we can work that out, George. Yeah, we can work that out. Yes.
You also stated about when students come in, if they have symptoms, we're able to do rapid tests. So we will have a COVID area or.
We have a COVID office now. So I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of the school year, by state law, they required us to have our own like COVID office for kids. So yes, we'll make sure that we still have that office. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And my suggestion is, I think this needs to be on our website front and center along with your, the plan, the Spanish and English versions of everything front and center when you first look at the website, because I know it does get lost in the shuffle of everything. So I think that's probably the best way, but we have to find a way to just get more of our information out to people so they just could be aware. And that's actually it for me.
Madam President.
Trustee.
Ms. Wright, I think you gave a good overview of what could possibly transpire. I am of concern in regards to that for both parents, teachers, staff, administrators, that there is no bulletproof suggestion plan, action plan for what we're dealing with. So I truly believe that some of this stuff is going to have to be trial and error, and everybody from us as school board members to parents to teachers to administrators to the community involvement, that we all have to be on board to be assured that we need our children back in school. I think Trustee Hernandez have mentioned that through her question in the statements that our number one priority is to get our kids back in school, Our students are getting further and further behind. My grandbaby used to love school, and she's in the 2nd grade. And it really, really broke my heart to have a conversation with her on Friday. And she said, "Papa, I'm just tired of it." That's just one, and that's mine, and that's, I ain't gonna say that's my only concern. My concern is all the students of East Chicago School District. But that one, it really, really touched me because that is my responsibility. She is my responsibility. And I don't know going back to school if that's the answer, but I think our kids gotta find a better way to get engaged in their learning. So I really believe, and my plea is to the community, to the staff, everybody involved, is that we find a way to not have so many questions, but let's try to find some solutions to whatever comes up. We're not going to have all the answers. It's not COVID proof nowhere, but the numbers are down, so that's a positive. We just need to be vested into making sure that our kids get back to school. I don't know if that was a question, but that was my comment.
So can I respond to that? I think I told you all this before, that every couple weeks, all the area superintendents, we all get together and we talk candidly, because it's just us. We talk. And I hear everything that they go through, I know about it because they talk to us. And if they're not talking to us, we send emails. And I chime in on those emails. Some of the things that they're talking about in the emails are because their kids are in school. Ours are not, but I read that. So I'm kind of aware of everything that could possibly happen. So they have already tested it for us somewhat. So I kind of have an idea of what's going to happen. We're going to get some scares in every building that has been open. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm not going to sit and lie to you and tell you, sell you a false dream. In every building, there has been a positive case. Some with kids, some with staff. While the teachers were in the building, while the teachers were not in the building. It's just how you react to it. And you're right, there is no 100% proof that, that there will not be any positive cases. But even when we all get vaccinated,
Ms. Jen, come along.
Somebody still may become positive. So my message that I want to send to everyone is that I believe it's safe enough to try. I believe it's safe enough to try. We're the last ones. So all we have now, I've watched everything that everybody else has gone through. And so I don't have to make the mistakes that other people have made because I know what they went through. So I totally agree with you, Mr. Williams. I do. It will be March 13th. It will be 1 year our kids would have been out of school. 1 year.
Ms. Wright, I forgot I had a question. I know, the timeline that you have, and we talked about the last meeting, the crossing guards. Have you already reached out to the city to explain to them that there's a possibility of this being the date? There's a lot of just things going on in the city that we need to just be proactive.
And so I was going to call today. As I said, I was going to call today, but I got busy doing something else. But I'll make sure I call tomorrow. Absolutely.
And
yes.
I again, today, I had on my lunch, I reviewed a speaker at the Equity Symposium, and he discussed that as a board, we need to find ways to be equitable, and we need to find ways to reach the child, not the child reach us. And that when it comes to dealing with students, we have to love them first, teach them that second. And I think we're at the point where we're asking staff, and we're asking board members, and we're asking the superintendent, at what point are we gonna love the child first and make the sacrifices and teach second? Because I received a phone call today about a child that wasn't in school because they had to get hospitalized because of depression. It's sad. So I think sometimes we have to put our differences aside and make the plans to make sure everyone's safe so we can continue to move forward. And I think this is honestly what we're doing today. Any other questions? Oh, and I have one more. On television, or on YouTube, can we discuss the filters? I know we bought filters. Can we discuss the filters?
I'm Lenny, I'm Director of Maintenance. As I've talked to Superintendent with our weekly meetings, starting Monday, we will be getting the filters in. We will change them again. This time I am gonna videotape everything, and for each principal, like she said, I did meet with every principal. This week I got one more left tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I did assure them that I will have them there when they come in. We'll take pictures. I will also take pictures of them changing the univents in each individual classroom, and then each air handler, which teachers and people don't see, that's usually up in the attic and everything else. So everything will get changed and dated, and then we'll change them periodically.
Thank you. Nah, I'm really done.
Really?
Promise. Anyone else? Any trustee? Trustee Gomez.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment that a lot of this is still relatively new to me, but I can tell you that last month I did in-person training in Cicero, Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri, and Indianapolis. And in each one of those training sessions I just came back to St. Louis this morning. I'm going to Indianapolis after this meeting to deliver another training. I can tell you that the trainings that I've been exposed to, where I'm inside the class delivering the training, this plan that you originally presented to us, I think, has been very strong. It has been much stronger than any of the places that I've visited. And I've been on site to other locations as well. for those people who think that we're not doing enough, I can tell you that I think we're doing more than enough, and then some, because there's other places I've been to that are not doing anywhere near what we're doing. So I just want to thank you and those people in the back of the house that are doing the stuff that needs to be done to, make the staff and kids safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, if there's no other questions from the board, we can now go to, yes, go ahead and start.
So once again, thank you all for listening to the PowerPoint presentation. I'm sure the teachers have several questions. We're going to make sure that we answer all those questions. Helen was in my office before this meeting. We are going to make sure that we work together and try to get every answer. We don't want teachers just to show up. We want them to feel safe and happy to show up. Because if they show up happily and feeling safe, then that energy won't be projected onto our kids. So my promise to Ms. Steinbach and the AFT 511 is that we're going to do everything possible. I just want our kids back in school.
Right there, right?
I want our kids back in school. I'm passionate about this. I want our kids back in school. And I'm going to do everything that I can. If I have to teach, well, so be it. I like teaching anyway. I did it for 25 years. I want our kids back in school. And we want to make sure that we make this happen. Ms. Steinbach. Okay? So that means.
I'm sorry, I did have one. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Counselors will be coming back also.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we have a lot of children with a lot of social, emotional issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All staff will be back. All staff will be back. Absolutely. In the buildings. Yes.
So I forgot, she did bring up a point about in your virtual plan. I just wanted to make sure, and you said how you do switch back and forth. Does that mean all teachers have to be in the building regardless well, it does, because they're A and B, so it doesn't, never mind, straight it up. So anyone who has comments from the public and or on the live stream, we would like it to remain strictly to this COVID plan. Attorney, did you have anything else to add?
No, but as with all of our meetings, if you could please identify yourself, state your address. Please be respectful of the board members and also all the staff. Obviously, this is the opportunity for people to speak on all these issues. And as the superintendent explained, her team is taking down notes and will make sure that all the questions get answered in the manner that she described at the beginning of her presentation. Thank you.
Madam President?
Trustee Williams.
Are we still holding to the 3 minutes of comment if we have public commenting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Are
sir.
we starting with this?
Yes.
Okay, because I know I have one person on mine, but I would prefer to allow who's in the building to speak first.
Oh, that's fine.
If nobody has signed up before the meeting, so I have nobody on the list. But if someone is in the building and would like to speak, can go, and then I got one person that's online.
That's fine.
You want me to go up there, or you want me to?
I think we have to.
I think you would have to go up there so they can hear you.
Okay. All right, just to put it out there, because I want to allow for planning time. Ms. Hernandez-Ord, you brought up the fact about the crossing guards, and I'm concerned about who's responsible for cleaning the walkways where the students would cross the street, because I myself have had trouble crossing the street to go across to a restaurant at lunchtime or whatever. And also the curbs in front of the schools where the buses drop off and pick up, those haven't been cleaned either. So I don't know who's responsible for that. The parking lots are taken care of now. I do say that. And then what would be the threshold that would push us from yellow back to red again? Or if we do end up green in April, what's the threshold to push us back to yellow or red? And then testing for IB third graders only, that's third graders only, has to occur in March during that window. Are we making arrangements for that?
Thank you. Now we have another speaker that wants to speak that's online. The name is Stephen. Oh, we have someone else in the audience? Okay. Mrs. Gibson?
But before I speak, we're not gonna get a response from you guys, right?
If you have a question, you will. If you have a question, you will get a response from someone, from either our attorney or superintendent. If you have a question, but if you come in to make a comment or a statement in regards to the learn to.
Yeah, and there might be a possibility for Superintendent Davis to answer regarding this. I think she stated a couple times, let me receive the question. If I don't have an answer to give out, then I will send it. Correct.
But I asked my question already, okay? So my question is, we can ask the question.
Hold on, Ms. Gibson, if you ready, I want to start your time. So I want to be fair to you, to give you your 3 minutes. So if you can start, ma'am.
Okay, we have already, the HRB, the community, businesses and what have you not, have already been submitting things in writing to the school board as well as the superintendent and their attorneys. And now we hear that we have to continue to submit things to individuals. We do not get a response, not at all. And even when I speak here, nothing is never being said. And so all what has been happening for our kids, they have been losing out, as we all are aware of that. I do hope that this plan that the board keep passing and nothing's being implemented for our kids. I hope this is a plan that will work, because like you said, Mrs. Wright, they have been out of school for a whole year and nothing has happened for our children. They are, you have truancy, okay? And it's no fault of theirs. It's a lot of the fault. It's what's been happening. We all know that COVID is here, but we cannot continue to let COVID continue to be the reason for our kids not getting educated. And then you have another group of kids that can apply for scholarships, playing sports. So with that being said, that I hope that what you just got out here and said, that it does be implemented for our kids' education. Now, my question is for Jewel Harris. I did submit something under the Freedom of Information Act to Mr. Roberts, which we have not been in receipt of, a hard copy, and we would like to have that. And then today is February the 10th, which we did request of something in writing from the board or from you, Mr. Harris, because you always make reference when you tell us that we have to stand up here 3 minutes, we will get a response, but we have not been in receipt of anything. So I just want to bring that to your attention once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak?
Yes. Good evening, I'm Tanya Edwards. I'm a truant officer and 3 of us are here. My son is a junior, and next meeting, we need to have the kids come to the meeting so that they can voice their concerns to the board. And they can speak out on how they feel and what they're not feeling. And we as parents have to be on board to make sure that our kids are up and doing what they're supposed to do. Me as a parent, I do that. But what are the other parents doing? I know Mr. Evans doing it for his grandchildren. Ms. Williams doing it. And so we can't just put it off on the kids, on the teachers. But the kids got to partake, the parents got to partake, the teachers got to partake, the whole community has to partake and become one and teach our kids.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the building that would like to speak?
My name is Carla Brown. I'm truant officer at Central High School for the 9th and 10th graders. I wanted to speak because I want to speak on behalf of some of the children that are really suffering. We talk to them, we talk to the students, we go visit them, we talk to the parents when the truancy gets out of hand. But I've talked to so many students. I'm going to give you an example. The dean of 9th and 10th graders, Corey Bailey, called me and said, "Do you have anything on this child?" He was working on F reports. I love that. I said, "I have nothing. I don't even have a 3-day letter for this person." Well, she was attending school, but this was an honor student that is doing nothing now. She just said she can't do it. We gotta get these kids back in school. They are really suffering.
Thank you. Is that it for in person that would like to speak? If so, we're gonna go to online. Online is Stephen Flores. Stephen Flores. When you log in and you're able to speak or you're let in, if you can, please, so you won't get any feedback, please mute your live so you won't get any feedback. Can you hear us, Stephen? I believe that you're on mute. All right, Mr. Flores, your time is now beginning. Sorry, Mr. Flores, we can't hear you. Yeah, we're not getting anything from you, Mr. Flores, as far as volume.
Oh. He said no.
We don't hear you. I don't know if you hear us, Mr. Flores.
Okay. You're gonna lean on.
Okay.
Was he the only one?
I'm sorry?
Was he the only one?
He's the only one that's online. That's via live stream that wants to speak. Okay, Mr. Flores. I'm sorry, we're still having technical issues. We're trying to hear you.
So, hey, can you just tell him to give us questions to his side?
Mr. Flores, because we're live in this meeting, is it possible that you can give your concerns or questions to Mrs. Steinbeck?
No, our attorney, said that we don't want to set precedent by doing that.
Okay.
Do we have the phone number for our Zoom? Can we? If not, then what he could do is he could, whatever he has written up already, if he has something that he would like presented, then he could do that, send it to both our attorney and to Ms. Wright, and they could disseminate that to us.
So you can write up what you want to say and then send it to Ms. Wright and the board.
No, yeah, just no.
Were we able to give him the number to call in, or?
Trying to look at it right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best option if it's available right now.
George, do we have a number?
I never see it.
So no, we don't have the number. There is no number, there is no number for us to give out. You'd have to, in turn, you could just email our attorney, Ms. Steinbeck, can you let him know? Email our attorney as well as Ms. Wright. I think that's all the public expression. Can I have a motion for adjournment, please? Trustee Rodriguez makes a motion for adjournment. Trustee Smith seconds the motion. Mr. Williams, roll call.
Trustee Rodriguez,
Yes.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Trustee Gomez,
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Owens.